Follow. I mean, that's Danny Ainge's opinion,
Right.
and we all have our opinion. But my problem is more so with LeBron. Is if you are the greatest player, if people are saying you are the greatest player, or if people are saying Michael Jordan is the greatest player, why do you need to say it?
Right.
Michael Jordan has never.
Scottie Pippen just labeled LeBron James the fake injury GOAT, and the internet is absolutely losing its collective mind. This isn't some dusty archive clip or a quote that was twisted out of context. This dropped in 2026, fresh and loud, yet somehow major media outlets are staying strangely quiet. That silence speaks volumes, because Scottie's words tear right through the image LeBron has maintained for over 20 years. Scottie didn't mumble this on a small podcast or use any kind of cryptic language. He looked straight into the lens and said what many fans feel but are usually too afraid to say. This should make any LeBron fan stop and think. It wasn't just a random insult or a quick jab. It was blunt and unapologetic. This wasn't just about one bad game or a minor injury scare. Pippen was describing a pattern he believes is far too convenient to ever be dismissed as simple coincidence. Once you hear him break it down, the perspective shifts, whether you are a fan of the king or not. It forces you to view LeBron's legacy from a new angle. It is how the game evolved. The game became more about perimeter shooting, if I could put it that way. I look back to when I was retiring in the early 2000s, when the league started promoting scoring. They wanted higher scores on the board. They believed that would keep the fans more engaged with the game. Imagine the scene. Early 2026, Scottie Pippen speaking his mind with absolutely no filter left in him. No PR cleanup or polished talking points. Just raw, honest thoughts coming straight from the source. He is done trying to please the NBA establishment, and you can hear it in every single word. In that specific discussion, one the major sports networks are curiously ignoring right now, Scottie dropped a bombshell line that set group chats on fire. He called the Lakers star the fake injury GOAT, not the scoring leader, but the fake injury GOAT. That one label sparked instant war. But before you dismiss this as bitterness from an old player, listen up. Scottie did not just throw out a wild headline and then disappear. He actually laid out his logic step by step, asking the kind of hard questions that the mainstream media avoids. Scottie's main point was simple, yet it hit like a ton of bricks. He basically argued that whenever things get difficult or the pressure peaks, LeBron finds a way to be sidelined, and everyone accepts it. That single claim started a massive storm, and the logic only gets deeper the more you sit with it. Scottie Pippen is a six-time champion. Michael Jordan simply would not have all those rings without Scottie by his side. If not for a terrible call by Hugh Hollins in favor of Hubert Davis against Scottie and the Bulls, I truly believe Pippen would have secured the championship that year even without Michael Jordan on the roster. I believe those Chicago Bulls were built exactly like that legendary Houston Rockets team led by Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon. Of course, critics will claim Scottie is just biased because of his complicated history with Michael Jordan. That history is real, but don't overlook the facts. This isn't a new stance for Scottie. He has been side-eyeing the LeBron narrative for years now, long before 2026. Scottie has watched how LeBron's brand is managed, and he sees it on an entirely different level. Every single storyline and legacy debate feels carefully manufactured. Scottie knows the game. He lived it during the Jordan era. But from Scottie's perspective, there is one massive difference. Jordan built his image by showing up every night, playing through agony, and never showing a hint of weakness. Meanwhile, Scottie sees LeBron's image as mostly storytelling, unstoppable 1 minute, then suddenly injured when the pressure is highest. After 2 decades of watching this, Scottie finally hit his limit. He made his stance very clear. He respects LeBron's off-court impact, no doubt, but when discussing the greatest of all time, he draws a line. He said, "I respect what he does off the court, but in the GOAT debate, you cannot be the greatest when you vanish during defining moments." That didn't just sound like a critique. It sounded like a direct challenge to everything fans believed. Scottie Pippen wasn't just talking trash. He was redefining the term GOAT. And by his standard, LeBron isn't close. That is where it starts getting uncomfortable, because Scottie was not finished, not by a long shot. This next section is the one that is going to split fans straight down the middle. Look at the timeline, not one moment or two, but a pattern Scottie keeps pointing to again and again. High-pressure games, eliminations, the specific moments that define legends. In many of those big moments, LeBron was listed as limited, questionable, or just off his game because of some physical issue. Let us be clear, injuries are real. Every athlete deals with them. No debate about that. Scottie is not saying LeBron is faking his medical reports. This goes much deeper than that. He is pointing at something strategic, a way of managing his body and the narrative surrounding his legacy. Scottie calls it something bigger, like using load management as a tool for his legacy plan. A player so aware of his image that even when he is sidelined, his absence fits perfectly into the bigger picture. That idea alone had people thinking. Then Scottie dropped a line that made the whole room go dead silent. He said, "You never saw Jordan tell you he was hurt before a game. You found out after because he kept it secret. LeBron announces it. He lets everyone know." That comparison hit hard. It was not just about injuries, it was about mindset. Here is where it gets louder. LeBron James did not respond publicly at all. No statement, no post, nothing. In his world, silence speaks volumes. While he stayed quiet, those around him did not. Reports started circulating everywhere. Nothing official, nothing on record, but the message was both clear and calculated. The pushback painted Scottie Pippen as bitter, outdated, and just stuck in the past. The narrative shifted fast, suggesting he is just frustrated from being overlooked, taking shots at the player who gets all the attention now. To be fair, there is truth in that. Scottie did spend years in the shadow of Michael Jordan. He dealt with low contracts and recognition that did not always reflect his massive impact. That history is real, but here is the twist. Being frustrated does not automatically make someone wrong. In fact, behind the scenes, some voices in the basketball world have quietly admitted something very interesting. Not on television, not in headlines, but in private talks, former players suggest Scottie's point about injury timing is not that wild. One unnamed champion reportedly said, "Scottie is not lying. Everyone sees it, but nobody wants to say it." That quote alone says a lot. It hints at a conversation happening off camera that never reaches the public. That is exactly where this whole situation shifts into something much bigger than just LeBron James. Strip away the noise and the personal history. What is left is a serious question about greatness today. What does greatness mean in 2026? Scottie's argument goes deeper than headlines. It is about authenticity versus control. He says the greatest players did not script their legacy. They lived it through chaos, pain, and unpredictable moments. Jordan did not plan the flu game. Kobe Bryant did not plan to hit free throws with a torn Achilles. Those moments happened because they simply refused to quit. Scottie believes LeBron's entire career has been built on very smart, calculated decisions. To be fair, most of those moves worked out perfectly. The longevity, the business success, the global image, it has all been handled at an elite level. But when it comes to championships and those defining playoff moments, that is where Scottie is drawing the line. That is where this whole debate starts to heat up. Here is the real pressure point. When everything is on the line and there is nowhere to hide, Scottie says things stop adding up. He made it simple. The GOAT does not get to pick and choose. You show up or you do not. That line cuts deep. It is not just about LeBron, it is about an entire mindset. Whether you agree with Scottie or not, that idea sticks because it is more than criticism. It is a philosophy. It is the kind of belief many old-school figures stand on. To them, greatness is not flexible. It is proven when the pressure is at its peak. Fast forward to 2026, LeBron James is still performing at a high level, putting up numbers that do not even seem real. We simply can't ignore that. Meanwhile, Scottie Pippen's comments are lingering, refusing to fade away, mainly because the GOAT debate has never been strictly about the box score or statistics. If stats were everything, this talk would have ended years ago. This rivalry lives in something much deeper: real moments, raw emotions, and lasting memories. Those instances where a superstar could have backed down but chose to push through. Scottie's stance is crystal clear. He claims LeBron lacks those signature-defining moments, or at least enough to overshadow the times when the narrative shifted toward injuries and physical hurdles at crucial turning points. That's the friction fueling the non-stop arguments. And right now, the entire basketball world is split right down the middle. Fans, analysts, even NBA veterans, everyone is picking a side. Many label this the most vital basketball discussion of 2026. Others see it as total disrespect. But one thing is for sure, no one is ignoring this, and no one thinks it's irrelevant. And just as you think the noise couldn't get any louder, a new layer unfolds as people stop just debating Scottie's words and start putting LeBron's biggest moments under a heavy microscope. Matchups we remembered one way are suddenly being re-examined through a completely different, much harsher lens. Fans are digging up old playoff runs. Every key loss and crucial stretch is questioned. Was it just circumstance or something much more controlled? That perspective shift has viewers watching the same footage, but seeing a totally different narrative. What's even wilder is just how polarized these reactions have become. Some are defending LeBron James harder than ever, highlighting his incredible durability, insane career longevity, and the endless times he actually delivered when everything was on the line. They argue this narrative ignores decades of dominance to focus on a few selective moments. Yet Scottie's argument keeps gaining steam not because everyone agrees, but because it plants seeds of doubt. And doubt spreads like wildfire. Even those who never doubted LeBron are now second-guessing specific plays and replaying key situations over in their heads. Then there's the media circus, which only cranks up the tension surrounding this whole situation. Certain outlets are finally acknowledging the controversy, while others are still keeping a safe distance. That divide alone makes you wonder what's truly happening behind closed doors. At this elite level, it's about more than basketball. It's about legacy control, public image, and who actually defines greatness. Right now, that definition feels incredibly shaky. Scottie Pippen didn't just drop a comment, he ripped open a debate that simply refuses to close. And the longer it stays open, the more chaotic this whole conversation is going to get. So, it all comes down to this. What do you honestly believe? Pippen didn't just question LeBron James, he challenged the very way we measure basketball greatness. Once that question is out there is no going back. Is true greatness about delivering every single time, regardless of the odds? No excuses, no exceptions? Or is it about sustained longevity and controlling your career in a way no athlete has ever done before? That's the massive divide, and it won't be settled soon. Look, LeBron's legacy is already among the most decorated in history. No argument there. But Scottie's words added a new kind of pressure to the talk, the kind that raw stats can't answer. Now, every performance and every game moving forward feels like it's being analyzed under a much stronger spotlight. This has evolved into a full-on clash of eras, differing mindsets, and conflicting definitions of what makes a player great. Whether you agree with Scottie Pippen or totally reject his take, one thing is certain: this conversation isn't going away anytime soon. Now, I want to hear from you. Was Scottie Pippen spitting facts, or did he cross the line with this take? Drop your thoughts below, and let's talk about it. If you like this breakdown, smash that like button, subscribe for more, and share this with anyone obsessed with the GOAT debate. Stay locked in, because this massive conversation is far from over. Catch you in the next one.